I have gotten so many comments about asking for another horror story. If you are watching this at nighttime, I would save it for later or watch at your own risk. Again, if you don't believe in paranormal activity, just scroll past this video because I'm not gonna argue with anyone in the comments. I don't know if you guys have watched this video yet, but I'll put a screenshot right here of this haunted, I don't know if it's haunted, but this very weird road that I live right by. Something happens every single time I am on that road. Last night I had work and I decided to take that road home, that specific road home. Immediately regretted it because it was almost midnight. I had this weird, eerie feeling that I was about to freak the fuck out because I was already a mile deep into this road. I had no choice, so I had to keep going. And I just felt like there was a presence or someone in the car with me. And I had just had a nightmare about I forgot to lock my doors at night and I got out of work, or it was practice, one of the two, and there was someone in my car. So it was kind of freaking me out, but turned my flashlight on, turned around, there was no one behind me. Kept driving, and I just kept having this gut feeling to look behind me because I was so freaking scared. And one time that I looked behind me, I saw a head, a face. It wasn't even a head, it was just a face staring at me. It was not in the back seat, it was in the trunk between the head seat and the wall of the car. I shot my head back and grabbed my flashlight, turned it on, and there was obviously nothing there. But I was also so scared of when I was looking back, I was gonna turn around and there was gonna be someone in front of my car, and then I swerve off the road. But that was just, I was being dramatic. Okay, I was that's how scared I was. I was thinking of the worst things possible that you could ever think of because I was genuinely just so fucking scared. It was so bad. I don't know, something about that night was just freaking me the fuck out. My brother got in the car and he was something about tonight is so scary. And I was Dylan, what the fuck? And then I told him everything that happened. And I was I'm not trying to scare you, blah, 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 blah. And the fact that he said that before I even said anything, it's just freaking me out. I was just scared. Got Taco Bell and nothing happened. We were coming back through my subdivision and all of a sudden something gets thrown at our car. Yeah, thrown at our car. And it was almost it was so hard and loud, it felt like something wanted us to stop. And I obviously didn't. I went faster and I turned up our court and I was going so fast. We parked the car. I threw it in park. I was okay, Dylan, we're just gonna run 3, 2, 1 and we're gonna run to the house together. We grabbed our food. I was 3, 2, 1. We ran in the house and locked it right away. And nothing else happened that night, but then I woke up and I was talking to my mom and my sister about what happened, and I started telling the story, and my mom's Megan, and I was oh gosh, what? And she was I felt something tap me on the shoulder 3 times the other day and no one was there. And I was oh my freaking gosh. And now I'm scaring myself. I'm getting scared. And I was wait, were you in the car? And it didn't happen in the car. It happened at my house while she was sitting at the counter. But that just freaked me out so bad. And then my sister was also telling me that when she went upstairs, because our room was in the basement, she said that when she went upstairs, she had a gut feeling that someone was watching her, and she just ran to the bathroom and ran back to her room because something was just so off. She did not like the feeling. And now I'm so scared to drive at night, even not on the back roads. I always feel someone is in the car with me, and I don't know if it was because the dream I had or the face I saw, but I don't like the feeling that I get every time I go in the car. Anyways, let me know if you guys want more story times, which you guys probably will because I have not stopped getting comments on multiple videos, more horror story times. So if you guys want some, comment down below and I'll give you guys some more. Thank you guys for watching. I love you guys. Bye.
Y'all, trigger warning, and I am back with another spooky story. We're gonna call the person who submitted the story Carol. So Carol says that she didn't realize her fiance's family hated her until she got pregnant. So Carol met him at work. We're gonna call the fiance Andre. So Carol and Andre met at work. Carol describes Andre to be quiet, gentle, and family-oriented. Andre told Carol that him and his family were close, but she didn't understand what he meant until she met them. And at that point, it might have been too late. So Carol and Andre started dating and they fell head over heels. Fast forward, it's time to meet the family. So we're gonna call Andre's mother Solange, okay? When Carol met Solange, like, she was smiling at her and everything, but the mother's energy was saying something completely different. Then she met his sister. We're gonna call her Maribel. Maribel literally asked her one question. So you're the new girl? And then just walked away. I mean, after that first meeting, things were weird, but Carol's under the impression that things are gonna get better. She kept dating Andre. Eventually, he proposed to her, and his mother cried, like boo-hoo cried, and it wasn't happy tears. She was pissed. But they went through their engagement, and then Carol found out that she is pregnant. And when she got pregnant, things shifted. Things got dark. At this point, Carol and her man are living together, and his mother insisted on coming over and cooking for Carol. And every visit, keep this in mind, the mother would touch Carol's stomach, whisper prayers in a language that she didn't recognize, and the sister always asked weird, intrusive questions. She would ask questions about her womb, like, are you sure it's stable enough to carry a child? Questions about whether or not women in her family carry babies well. Then out of nowhere, her body started rejecting the pregnancy. Started off with nightmares, horrifying nightmares that felt real, bleeding, cramping after family dinners, and every time she would go to the doctors would tell her that everything looked normal. But according to Carol, nothing about that pregnancy felt normal. Well, everything would come to a head. One day, Andre and Carol were at Andre's mother's house. Carol stepped away to go to the bathroom when she overheard Maribel, Andre's sister, on the phone, talking about she's still pregnant. Mama said the work should have slowed it down by now. And amongst other things, that seriously worried Carol. That night, Carol went home and searched her apartment. Well, behind the stove, under her bed, inside her plants, let's just say that she found things that did not belong to her. She woke up Andre and confronted him. Andre's destroyed, and the very next day, Carol woke up. Unfortunately, she lost the baby. Carol says that she's Ugandan, and what Andre's family didn't know was that her grandmother raised her and taught her how to defend herself spiritually. Well, that she did. Carol went back to Uganda, got a bit of clarity, and then she was ready to strike. Y'all, this story is so long, filled with so much gruesome details that I can't tell on this platform. But I did tell the full story. I just uploaded it on my YouTube page. In my latest YT video caption, her in-laws ruined her pregnancy and she got revenge. It's a full 27-minute story, so run, don't walk. From your favorite Haitian homegirl.
Hello and welcome back to a series of spooky stories, The Haunted Tea Spill. This series is brought to you by all things spooky and ungodly amounts of paranormal activity. This is the necklace today. It comes with a bracelet. I love it so much. I also really like to use this one as stack because it's longer than my other necklaces. Also, please ignore the more prominent bags under my eyes today. I'm running on 3 hours of sleep. Now onto the story. This happened a few nights ago and then again last night, and I can't shake it. Yeah, it's still pretty fresh. Over the last few years, all of my grandparents have passed away one by one, and then 2 years ago, my father passed away. Our whole family has been struck with grief, as one would be. My mom has always been very into tarot and mediumship, and has had a few encounters with spirit. I think I've leaned in more on the side of believing in spirit because it has made losing my father and my grandfather, who was more of a father figure to me at times than my dad was, a lot easier to cope with. I've asked for signs over the years, and I've been happy to receive some. They've never scared me, but have made me feel closer to them. However, a few days ago, I woke up around 11:45 p.m. and barely had my eyes open, only to see 2 figures standing at the end of my bed, a female and a male. Ma'am, sir, I'm gonna have to ask you to get the fuck out of my humble abode. Thanks. The female I couldn't really make out, but the male was standing right next to her with his hands in his pockets, wearing jeans and a red shirt tucked in. Both just looking at me. Why do ghosts have to be such fucking creepers? My grandfather was notorious for wearing outfits that resembled exactly that. I rubbed my eyes and opened them wider, and the figures had disappeared. I chalked it up to just being a dream and went back to bed. A few hours later, however, I woke up and again a female figure was standing on the edge of my bed, staring right at me. What is the reason? If you want to say something, say it. Rubbed my eyes and she was gone. I'd like to hope that it was my grandma and grandfather, but still pretty freaky. Last night, my partner woke me up at around 3:43 a.m. and said, "Do you hear that?" I listened for a second and realized it was my phone. I grabbed my phone and it was playing Spotify, "I'm Not Afraid" by Eminem. I'm fucking terrified. The exact opposite of Miss Gloria Gaynor, if you will. I don't know about you, Ghost, but I'm afraid now. Twin. I'd woken up a few hours prior to that. My phone was not playing any music. It was just sitting locked on the charger, so it's not like it was still playing my playlist from before I went to bed and I didn't realize. It just randomly turned on, just hoping that it's my family playing some fun pranks on me in the afterlife and not the old man who died in our bedroom before we moved in. Why didn't you mention that before?
Because now that you say that, I'm gonna assume that that's who it was. Anyway, rated on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being the least scary, creepy, spooky, 10 being the most creepy, spooky. If you have a story of your own that you want to submit, you can do so on the link tree in my profile. I will see you all the next episode. Stay spooky, friends.
This right here is one of the few documented ghost stories, and it's really scary because you can actually see it. It all started in 1989 with this woman, Jackie Hernandez. You see, Jackie was a young mother who was going into a rough divorce, so she moved into a new home in San Pedro. This was the new house where she decided to start a new life with her kids, and from the start, things did not feel right. Because almost immediately after she moved in, Jackie started hearing a noise that sounded like footsteps, and it was coming from the attic, above her. She heard that noise multiple times, but she never really checked, okay? Her intuition was telling her that the attic was, dirty as hell and was probably some rats wandering around, and she'll deal with them later. So, even though something felt off after she moved in, especially with this noise thingy, Jackie was chilling, okay? Until one day she decided to invite her friend. The friend that she invited was actually one of her closest friends, and her name was Susan. So while her and Susan were having the best discussion, in the living room, they heard a noise coming from the kitchen. The noise they suddenly heard sounded like something falling or something immediately popping, and it was so loud that you couldn't miss it. They both checked the kitchen and they didn't find anything. This is where Susan, the friend, asked Jackie a question. She basically told her, "Is this the first time that, this happened?" Jackie responded by saying, no, actually, I heard something that was really similar, but it was in the attic last time." Susan was a friend who had common sense. When she heard Jackie saying that she heard a noise 2 times, she immediately knew that something is wrong with this house. And even though she knew, she decided to not tell Jackie. She was not trying to scare her, especially that Jackie was going into a rough time. She's a single mother, she has kids, and she just moved in. So yeah, her friend Susan just chose to be silent and then decided to get the hell out. After a while, Jackie started seeing some terrifying things. She started seeing a ghost who looked like an old man dressed in old clothes, and she would either see him standing in the hallways or, next to her when she sleeps. This is where Jackie realized that she is cooked. Her and her children will be in danger if she doesn't do something about this. So she immediately decided to call a team who were specialized in supernatural stuff. When the team made it to her house, they immediately felt that something was off, just like she did. They believed her, and they even brought cameras with them. The reason why they brought cameras was because they wanted to document everything and prove that this was not fake. After being there for a while, everyone in the house heard a shaking coming from the attic, just like the very first time, the noise that Jackie heard after she moved in. So when they heard the noise, this man right here actually decided to go up, enter the attic, and see who's causing that noise. He made it to the attic, he started looking, trying to find the source of that noise, and then suddenly he started screaming like, "Ah!" Everyone heard him screaming, they started panicking, and they collectively decided to bring him down from the attic. They tried to bring him down by his legs, but as you can see, he's really struggling because something is actually holding him, trying to bring him up. After a hard time, they finally brought him down, and he told them that something was trying to choke him, and he even had bruises everywhere around his neck. This is what the thing looked like. This is actually a screenshot from the documentary where you can see the whole footage. Just look it up. And obviously Jackie got the hell out from this house. And you know what's crazy? Even when she went to a new one, things like this didn't stop, okay? They kept happening. And they later found out why all of this is happening, but that's another story.
Can we show them the older homestead?
Yeah, let's go. As you know.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Was that you?
Yeah, that's on either side.
They went to both.
Yeah.
የሞቱ ሰዎች ያልጨረሱት ቢዝነስ ካላቸው ወይ በህልማቸው ይመላለሳሉ በሐሳባቸው በጣም ይመላለሳሉ በሰላም ነፍሳቸው አታርፍም ይባላል። ይሄ ታሪክ ሊዛ የምትባል ልጅ ታሪክ ነው። ሊዛ ካሪቢያን ውስጥ የምትኖር ልጅ ናት። ስፔሲፊክ የካሪቢያን ሀገሩን አልተናገረም። ሊዛ አክስቷ በድንገተኛ የመኪና አደጋ ታርፋለች። ቤተሰቡ በሙሉ በጣም ይደናገጣል፣ ሾክ ውስጥ ይገባል። አስፈሪ ታሪኮች It's your girl Yabiana, follow አርጉኝ It's scary story time። ቤተሰቦቿ በሙሉ በጣም ያዝናሉ። ቀብር ስነ ስርዓቱ ይፈጸማል። ከዛ በኋላ ካሪቢያን ውስጥ ከቀብር ስነ ስርዓት በኋላ የሞተው ሰው ቤት ይጸዳል። ስለዚህ ሊዛ እና የሊዛ እናት ሆነው ያክስቷን ቤት ሊያጸዱ ይሄዳል። እዛ ሆነው ያጸዱ ባለበት ሰዓት ታዲያ አልጋውን፣ ክሎዜቱ፣ ሳሎኑን ሁሉንም አጽድተው አልጋ ስር ግን የሆነ እቃ ተቀምጦ ያገኛሉ። አክቹሊ አልጋ ስር ሳይሆን ፍራሽ ስር ነው። I think ከፍራሽና ከአልጋ መሃል ብዙ ነገሮች ይደበቃሉ። ትዝ ይለኛል ድሮ የኔ አክስት ሰራተኞች እዛ ውስጥ ብዙ ነገር ይደባብቁ ነበርና ፈልፍላ ነበር የምታወጣባቸው። ብቻ እዛ ውስጥ ቀይ ሳጥን ያገኛሉ። ታዲያ ሊዛ ቀይ ሳጥኑን ተንቀልቅላ ትከፍተዋል። በዚህ ጊዜ ታዲያ እናትየው ሌላ ክፍል ውስጥ ነበረች። ሊዛ ያንን ቀይ ሳጥን ስትከፍተው ውስጡ ምን ታገኛለች? ደርት አሸዋ ታገኛለች። እንደገና ላባ ታገኛለች። የተሰበረ ማበጠሪያና ፎቶግራፍ አለ። ታዲያ ፎቶግራፉ ለሁለት ታጥፏል። ፎቶግራፉ አንድ ሙሉ ፎቶግራፍ ነው፣ ግን ለሁለት ታጥፏል። በፊት ለፊቱና በግልባጩ የተለያዩ ፎቶዎች ናቸው ያሉት። ታዲያ ሊዛ የፊት ለፊቱን ፎቶ አየችው። ፊት ለፊት ላይ ታዲያ ያየችው ምንድነው? ሊዛ በህፃንነቷ የተነሳችው ፎቶ ነው። በጣም ነው የደነገጠችው። ቀይ ሳጥን ውስጥ ከተሰበረ ማበጠሪያ ከአሸዋና ከላባ ጋር የእሷ የህፃንነት ፎቶ ምን ያደርጋል? እማዬ ብላ ጮኻ እናቷን ጠራት። እናቷም ወደ ክፍሉ እየሮጠች ገባች። ስትመለከት ታዲያ ቀይ ሳጥን ውስጥ ያለውን እቃ በሙሉ አየች። ልጄ ምንም ነገር ውስጡ ያለውን ነገር እንዳትነኪ አስቀምጫለች። ስለዚህ ሊዛ ከፊት ያለውን ፎቶ እንጂ በግልባጭ በኩል ያለውን ፎቶ አላየችውም ነበር። ግን በቃ የሆነ ነገር ቀዩን ሳጥን ክፈችው ስላላት ነበር የከፈተች። ላይክ ሳምቲንግ በቃ የሆነ ነገር ማድረግ እንደሌለባችሁ ይገባችኋል። ግን አርጉት የሚል ስሜት፣ እሱን ስሜት ልትቋቋሙ አልቻለች። ታዲያ እዛ ቀን አጸዳድተው ጨርሰው ከቤት ያረፈችው የሊዛ አክስት መኖሪያ ቤቷ ሀይቅ አካባቢ ነበር። ካሪቢያን ውስጥ ባይዘዌ ሀይቅ አካባቢ አትቅረቡ ነው የሚባለው። ከተቻለ ጭራሽ ወደዛ አካባቢ ዝር ባትሉ የተሻለ ነው። በማታ አይደለም በቀን ኢቭን በቀን ማለት ነው። በሶስተኛ ቀን የሆነ ነገር ሊዛን እግሯን እዛ አካባቢ ወዳለው ሀይቅ ይመራትና ትሄዳለች። ታዲያ እግሯ መርቷት ሀይቁ ጋር እንደደረሰች አካባቢው ጸጥ ብሎ ነበር። ጨለማ ነው። የጨረቃ ብርሃን ብቻ ነው የሚታየው። ዛፎች ይንሸዋሸዋሉ። ሀይቁ ደግሞ ድምጽ ያወጣል፣ ልስልስ ያለ የውሃ ድምጽ። ሊዛ ሀይቁ ጋር ስትደርስ ያየችውን ነገር ማመን አልቻለች። የሞተችው አክስቷ ሀይቁ መሀል ቆማ ነበር። አክስቴ ብላ ጮኸች። ነገር ግን ያቺ ሴት ጎንበስ ብላ አንገቷን አይ በሚመስል መልኩ ነቀነቀ። ሊዛ በጣም ደነገጠች። ላይክ አርንች ሰፖስት ቢ ዴድ። ከዛም አክስትየው ቀና ስትል ከአይኗ እንባ እየፈሰሰ ነበር። ሊዛ የሆነ ነገር ውስጧን ሄደሽ አክስትሽን እቀፊያት አላት። እየሮጠች ወደ ሀይቁ ገብታ እሷ ወዳለችበት ወደ ቆመችበት መሮጥ ጀመረች። ወደዛ እንደደረሰች ግን አክስትየው እንዳትቀርባት በእጇ ነገረቻት። ላይክ እዛው ሁኚ ቃል ሳታወጣ። እንደዛም ካለቻት በኋላ የሆነ ነገር በእጇ ጭብጥ አርጋ ሰጠቻት። ድሮ አያቶቻችሁ ኦር ዘመድ አዝማድ ብር ሲሰጣችሁ እንደዚህ ቻርጎ እንደዚህ በእጃችሁ ላይ እንደሚያስቀምጡት ማንም ሳይ እንደዛ አርጋ በእጇ ሰጠቻት። በዛ ሰዓት ነበረ ሊዛ ከእንቅልፏ የነቃችው። ህልም እንደሆነ እንኳን ያወቀችው ስትነቃ ነው። ምክንያቱም የምር ወደ ሀይቁ የሄደች ያህል ነበር የተሰማት። ላይክ ሪያሊቲ ህልም ነው ብላ ማመን አልቻለችም። በገስዋት እጇ ውስጥ እቃ ነበረ። ታዲያ እጇን ገልጣ ስታየው አክስቷ የሰጠቻት ፎቶግራፍ ነበር። ያ ፎቶግራፍ እዛ ቀዩ ሳጥን ውስጥ ካየችው ፎቶግራፍ ጋር ይመሳሰላል። ኤኒዌይስ ታሪኩን ከመጨረሴ በፊት ጋይስ ሪማይንደር ልስጣችሁ። የእንግሊዘኛ ቋንቋ ክላሳችን እንደቀጠለ ነው። ቀጣይ ዙር ምዝገባ ተጀምሯል። ያው እኔ ጋር ያለው ክላስ የኦንላይን ክላስ ነው። ሙሉ ለሙሉ እንግሊዘኛ ቋንቋ መጻፍ፣ ማንበብ፣ መናገር ትማራላችሁ ማለት ነው። በሳምንት 3 ነው የምትገቡት። በቀን ደግሞ ለ2 ሰዓት ነው የምትማሩ። ዲስካውንት ብላችሁኛል። ለ2 ቀን ብቻ የሚቆይ ዲስካውንት ከግሩፕ ክላሱም ከፕራይቬት ክላሱም ላይ ተደርጓል። 500 ብር ተነስቷል። ስለዚህ ለ2 ቀን ብቻ ነው የሚቆይ። እንዳይሞላባችሁ ቶሎ ተመዝገቡ። በዚህ አመት በእንግሊዘኛ ቋንቋ ምክንያት ላለመዋረድ ወስነን የለ ከቀናችሁ ውስጥ 2 ሰዓት ሰጣችሁ ተማሩት። እቁብ ገብታችሁም ቢሆን እመኑኝ ከመዋረድ ትዱንበታላችሁ። ከዛ እጇ ላይ የሰጠቻትን ፎቶ ስትመለከተው የሷ የሊዛ የህፃንነት ፎቶ አለ። ከዛ በኋላ ከአጠገቧ ደግሞ አልጋ አለ። አልጋ ላይ አክስትየው አለች እና የአክስትየው የአራስ ፎቶ ነው ያለ። የሚመስለው ምንድነው አክስትየው ወልዳ ተኝታ ካጠገቧ ደግሞ ልጇን አስቀምጣ ነው። ሊዛ ማመን አልቻለችም፣ አለቀሰች። ምንድነው የሆነው? የሊዛ ትክክለኛ እናት አክስቷ ናት፣ ግን አክስትየው የአይምሮ ህመም ነበረባት። ስለዚህ ታላቅ እህቷ ሊዛን እኔ ላሳድግ ብላ ወሰደቻት እና እናትየው ልጇ እንድታቅ አልፈለገችም። ምክንያቱም ልጇ ስታቅ የአይምሮ ህመም የሚባለውን ነገር አብራ እንድታቅ ስለማትፈልግ። ታዲያ ስትሞት ነፍሷ ሊያርፍ አልቻለም። ቤተሰቦቿም ለሊዛ ሊነግሯት እየጠበቁ ነበር። ታዲያ ከቀብሩ ስነ ስርዓት በኋላ የተወሰነ ሳምንታት ቆይተው ሊነግሯት ነው ያሰቡት። ከዛ በፊት ግን ሊዛ ራሷ አወቀች። በእርግጠኝነት ይህን ቪዲዮ ከምታዩ ሰዎች ብዙዎቻችሁ እንደዚህ አይነት ነገር ገጥሟችሁ ያውቃል። አንድ በህይወት ያጣችሁት ሰው በህልማችሁ ምናልባት ተመላልሶባችሁ ባይምሯችሁም እንደዚሁ ሆኖ ያውቅ ይሆናል። እስኪ ኮሜንት ላይ ሼር አድርጉ። ደህና ደሩ።
Get ready with me while I tell you this ghost story. We're not going to talk about the hairpins, okay? We will only talk about the hairpins. If at the end my hair turns out right, it'll be great. We can talk about it. If not, it never happened. Back when I was in grade 8 and 9, I became completely obsessed with the paranormal. Ghosts, spirits, anything forbidden, I wanted all of it. A lot of that came from my girlfriend at the time. She was really into Wicca, and before I knew it, she had introduced me to a Ouija board. Oh no. At first it felt harmless. Just curiosity, just kids messing around. But it didn't stay that way. Of course it didn't. We started using the board every single day. And after about a month, something strange happened. Every time we asked the same question, who are we speaking with? The answer never changed. Oh no. The planchette would slide across the board and spell out the word him. At first we laughed it off. We weren't scared yet, but over time, him started getting aggressive. The board would curse at us, tell us to fuck off. The energy in the room felt heavier every time we played. Stop! Stop! One day, it got under my skin. I got angry, and in the middle of a session, I flipped the board off of the table and stormed away. After that, I stopped playing for a while, but whatever we'd contacted didn't stop. A few weeks later, I was working a night shift at Walmart stocking shelves. The store was quiet, just the low hum of fluorescent lights and distant footsteps. Then I heard it. A whisper. My name. Oh no. I froze. I told myself I imagined it until it happened again. Louder this time. I checked the next aisle, expecting to catch someone messing with me, but it was empty. When I heard my name a third time, loud enough to echo down the aisle, I snapped. I yelled, "Hello? Who the fuck is calling my name?" Nothing or no one answered. Work? About 40 seconds later, a coworker approached me. She looked pale, shaken. She asked if I had just heard my name being called 3 times. What? When I said yes, she swallowed hard and told me, completely seriously, that she was a medium and that hearing your name called 3 times was a sign someone in your family was about to die. I tried to laugh it off. I was into paranormal stuff, but I was still skeptical. I changed the subject and started talking about my future, plans, goals, and where I wanted my life to go. She interrupted me mid-sentence. She stared at me and said, "Every time you talk about your future, I hear something snickering. Something negative. It's attached to you and trying to ruin your plans." She had no idea about the Ouija board. The blood drained from my face. That night, I went home and fell into bed, exhausted. Hours later, I woke up to the sound of the house phone ringing. I heard my mom in the hallway saying, "Oh no, that's terrible. I'm so sorry." Who died? Who died? Before she even hung up, I was downstairs asking what had happened. Someone in our family had just died. I barely knew them, but the timing had shattered me. Instead of scaring me away, though, it ended up pulling me deeper. Oh, what? A few days later, I invited my girlfriend and my best friend over. My parents weren't home. We went into the basement and brought out the Ouija board. Okay, what are we doing? This would be the last time I touched one for years. We'd been playing for about 20 minutes when something strange happened. All 3 of us smelled it at the same time. Breakfast sausage, strong, greasy, and freshly cooked. It made no sense. No one was home. No food had been made. We asked the board if that smell was him, and the answer was yes. Later, my parents came home and made dinner. We ate, then went right back downstairs. This time, we were reckless. We demanded proof. Asked it to touch us. Then I did something I regret to this day. I asked the board if it could possess my girlfriend. Planchette snapped to yes. faster than I'd ever seen it move. Then it began counting down. 3, 2, 1. The light bulb above us started buzzing, flickering, and then it went out. Complete darkness. Ow! I screamed and bolted upstairs. As I reached the living room, I saw the sky flash pure white through the window. The transformer across the street had blown. What? My friend was still downstairs, swearing, after slamming into a wall trying to escape. Where is your girlfriend? In the chaos, I forgot about my girlfriend. Are you? 20 seconds later, she walked up the stairs calmly. Blank expression, no fear at all. No. As she passed me, she muttered something quiet and in a voice several octaves deeper than her own. I asked her what she said. She looked at me confused and said, "What?" She did the same thing to my friend. I told her to go home. She lived just around the block. She walked out like nothing had happened. My friend and I slept with the light on for a month. I actually ran away from home that night because I was so terrified.
What the fuck was that? Bro!
What's going on around you?
I don't know. I'm frozen. I am frozen. Did the window break?
Sometimes places don't seem haunted during the day, but when it gets dark, the things that pretend not to exist during the day come to see you at night. And that's exactly what's happening here in this story I'm about to tell you. So grab your favorite tea and settle in, and let me tell you another scary story that happened in the Appalachian Mountains, because of course, this is Tea After Midnight. This story was sent to me by Anonymous. Hey Savannah, I saw your Appalachia videos and I wanted to send you a story that's been happening to me and my wife. I would like my name to remain anonymous if that's okay. A few years ago, my grandfather passed away, and since I was his only living relative, he left me his house and farmland. My wife and I were living in Texas and relocated here in the Appalachian Mountains to live in my grandfather's house. Ever since we moved in, things have been happening, and it's honestly making me rethink moving out here. We left everything and everyone we knew back in Texas, and it would be extremely hard for us financially to leave here. I didn't visit here much growing up, so I'm not fully aware of all the rules and legends of this area, but I have done some research and we've been following the rules to see if that will help. We moved in about 1.5 years ago, and right off the bat, we would hear very weird things in the cornfield that's directly next to the house. And the weird noises always happen at night. There's no AC in this house because it's very old, so during the summertime, we always sleep with the windows open, or at least did. This is a 2-story house, and my wife and I sleep on the top floor, so we really didn't think too much of it, having the windows open only on the top floor. But it seemed like every night we would wake up hearing a scream coming from the cornfield. The first couple of nights we heard it, I walked outside to the edge of the cornfield and called out to see if anyone needed help. But I never heard anyone reply. My wife and I got so creeped out that we started sleeping with the window shut at night, but that didn't stop the screams and weird things happening. On top of the screams that we would hear at night, as we would get ready to lay down for bed, you could look out into the cornfield and see the tops of the corn stalks moving like something was walking in it. I always figured it was an animal, but now I'm not really sure. During the day, things seem to be fine, other than the occasional pop or creak we can hear coming from upstairs. But again, the house is pretty old, so we just figure it's the house settling. But when night comes, fear starts to set in. Every night, pretty much, we hear tapping on the side of the house or windows, the screaming out in the cornfield, or random rapid knocks on the front door, like something is trying to get in. And all of that is creepy enough, but a few months ago, my wife and I had went to dinner, and when we got back, my wife headed into the house to get ready for bed. I had to grab something out of the back of the car, and it's pitch black outside, so I had a flashlight digging around in the trunk. I was only back there for a few minutes when I heard my wife's voice say, "Hey babe, come here." I look in the direction that it came from, which just so happened to be the cornfield. I turn my head and look up to the top floor of the house and can see my wife in the window, folding a blanket. I then hear my wife's voice again, say, "Hey babe, I'm over here, come here," which again came from the cornfield. Every hair on my body stood up and I ran inside. I went upstairs and I tell my wife what I just heard, and given that she's heard some creepy things herself, she believed me. Now fast forward to just a couple weeks ago. I'm standing in the kitchen washing dishes after dinner with my wife upstairs making our bed with the fresh sheets we washed that day. I'm drying off a bowl when the hair on the back of my neck stood up. I heard creaking behind me like someone was standing there, but I didn't have it in me to turn around. I slowly glance up at the window, and in the reflection I see this black shadow figure standing behind me. I turned around quickly, but there was nothing behind me, and when I turned back around and looked in the reflection again, there was nothing but me standing there. I go upstairs to see if my wife was there or if she had come down to the kitchen, and she's upstairs struggling to put the bedsheet on. I asked her if she was just downstairs, and she looked at me and said no. Why? I told her what I had seen, and she turned pale as a ghost. She sat down and asked me if it smiled at me. I told her no, it didn't do that. It was just standing there. She looked up at me with tears in her eyes and said the other night when she was in the kitchen, she was looking out the window, but heard something creak behind her. And when her eyes focused on the window's reflection, she saw a tall black figure standing there, smiling at her. I asked her why she didn't say anything, and she told me that she didn't want me to worry about it. In newest events a few nights ago, I went to take the trash out behind the house and I heard scratching and banging noises coming from the barn, right behind the house. We keep it locked at all times and we haven't been in there in a while, so I know nothing should be in there. I wasn't about to go check it out, so I just went back inside. That same night, my wife was upstairs laying in bed reading on her Kindle in the dark. Our bed is up against a wall, and directly across from our bed is a wall with a window. The moon was shining bright that night, so it filled the whole room with light, enough for my wife to see as she's sitting in bed. She noticed that the room got a lot darker, then back to bright. So she glances up at the window, but didn't see anything at first. But as she's looking at the window, she said a black figure crossed in front of the window, like it was walking by it. But just as a reminder, our bedroom is on the top floor, which is easily 15 feet up from the ground. We have no idea what she saw, but it terrifies us just to think about it. I'm really not sure what to do. It seems like things just keep happening, but we really don't have the money to pick up and move again. I just pray that things will calm down and that the black shadow will leave, because every time I close my eyes, I see it staring at me in the window. I'm gonna need y'all's help in the comments on this one because I really don't know what this could be. There's just so many paranormal things happening to them in this house, like the screaming out in the cornfield, it mimicking the wife's voice, the black shadow figure that both of them seen, and the wife saw it smiling at her. Banging and scratching, it moving in front of the window when the window is 15 feet off the ground. The only thing I could think of to do would be to pray over the land and pray over the house, because honestly, it seems like there's just multiple things here. I don't want to say it's just one specific thing. It sounds like a collection of paranormal things. But regardless, it's absolutely terrifying, and I couldn't imagine packing your life up and going somewhere else and all of these paranormal things happening to you. But that does conclude this episode of Tea After Midnight. If you have any scary stories you want to share, I would love to read them. They do not have to be about the Appalachian Mountains. It can be any paranormal experience you've been through. You can email me at this email right here on the screen or the email in the caption. But as always, thank you so much for being here and watching. It truly means the world to me. And I hope you know how much I love you, because it's a lot. I hope you have the best night, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.